Urban Explorer Dogman Story. I used to think werewolves were cool. I even had a werewolf-related graffiti name, and I used to paint them on the walls of the abandoned places which are my art galleries and my personal museums. And then I met a real werewolf in the least likely place possible, and now everything has gone completely wrong. Look, I don't really feel respected yet by the other guys in my particular artistic field. I mean, they grudgingly admit I've got some skills, but somehow I got stuck with this rep of putting my stuff in easy and obvious places, but never really putting them in a place that was very impressive. I mean, I have a fear of heights, so I don't do any art or tags up on rooftops or on bridges. This has caused some people to say I lack real-world courage to go along with some of the bold artistic statements that my work makes. They say that because I went to art school for a couple years, I'm more about theory than practice. They don't talk like me, and I don't talk like they do, and that's another problem. So I have no fear of abandoned places, no fear of being underground, to go with my fear of heights. I decided I would combine my interest in urban exploring with my love of creating urban art. If I didn't always choose the most daring spots above ground, then I'd find them underground, in the catacombs, under the abandoned parts of our city. And that was the beginning of how I met a real-life werewolf. I was in a building that I found tags in from all the guys I wanted most to impress on the outskirts of town, and I started looking into how to get downstairs in the building and find out about the basement of this place. While I was exploring, I found a doorway that had been sealed up. Someone had been chipping away at the cement and bricks on the bottom, but I noticed there was a larger cavity on top, so I lifted myself up and shone my cell phone light down into the darkness. It looked like it might be an old stairwell leading down, which is what I was looking for, so I pulled myself up and through the hole into the black cavity. Inside, it was so dark at first, I was afraid to take a step in any direction. Rather than turn the cell phone light on again, I just stood there and waited to see if my eyes would adjust. Soon I did notice that there was an ambient lighting, and I could make out a ruined stairwell. As I moved through the sub-basement, I was amazed at the shocking degree of decay at that level. After all, this building was around 100 or 110 years old, not 110,000. Yet I could see that some of the walls and the stairs were crumbling to dust in places. Maybe they were just built of cheap materials or something, that's all I can guess. But it was clear that this area was closed off for a good reason, and I became viscerally aware that the floor might collapse underneath me, or the ceiling might crash down on top of me, at any moment. I enjoy lonely places, but this place seemed too lonely even for me. I thought about retreating to a safer location, but then I noticed an ambience of light. Artificial light. Probably fluorescent. Coming from a tunnel in the distance. And curiosity got the better of me. While some of this building seemed to be degrading back into a cave, apparently there was at least one place still wired for electricity. As I came down the tunnel to the brightly lit room, I was hit with an odor of body sweat and rotted food. I poked my head in, and I had to squint in the light as I was coming in from the darkness. I thought I was hallucinating at what I saw. There was a man, with the crappiest tattoos I'd ever seen, standing on the other end of the room, staring at me. At first I thought he was locked in a jail cell. I blinked a few times in the dusty room, and I confirmed that he was indeed locked behind bars, but those bars appeared to be created out of either water or electrical pipes, metal tubes screwed together, then either cemented into the concrete floor of the room on the bottom, or soldered into a metal bar overhead. There did not appear to be a door to let the man out, and the bars were irregular all over, not in one perfect, neat line. Just as I couldn't figure out how to release him from his cage, I also couldn't understand how anyone had gotten him in there in the first place. I approached the bearded old guy cautiously, moving side to side, while he never stopped staring directly at me. He seemed to be used to this ritual that I was new to. A stranger comes into the chamber, taking in the weird, unopenable jail cell, looking at the torn jeans and over-muscled arms of the prisoner, trying to make any sense out of it at all. There were empty wrappers for junk food on the floor in front of the bars, although that superhero physique this guy was showing off was not one that you would expect to be produced by Fritos corn chips. Again, nothing connected, at least not in my brain. When I seemed to settle on a position to stare at him from, the man began to speak. I can see you have questions. Don't worry, I have answers. Something about the way he was telling me not to worry caused me to worry. He continued speaking in a relaxing tone. You want to know if I can get out of this prison? No human could. You want to know how I survive here? I eat snacks donated by people like you. Got any Fritos corn chips on you, kid? Nah, man, sorry, I only have cans of spray paint in my backpack and that's it. I see. You want to know if this cell was built around me while I slept? Or else how was I imprisoned here? Yes? Well, yeah, I was kind of wondering about that. It's actually pretty ingenious, to be honest. Come over here. No, you have to look at it from this angle, see? Before I knew it, the guy somehow had me in a chokehold. His tree trunk of an arm wrapped around my twig of a throat. I tried to speak, but found that I couldn't. He was cutting off my ability to talk, or even breathe. And as I watched in horror, I saw his arm become furry, hair growing out of it like some kind of stop-motion movie. Soon, there was some kind of monster arm that was gripping me around the throat. Whatever was holding me pulled back suddenly, and I thought my throat would snap. But instead I found myself pulled backward into the jail cell, looking up at what once must have been that man, but was now something I would need to use a term more like werewolf or dogman to describe. His chest expanded and contracted as he stared down at me, and I wondered how much longer I would have to live. The monster man took one step toward me and appeared to be falling down to my level. I flinched and expected the end was about to come, but no. That huge werewolf had merely shrunk himself down to the size of an ordinary wolf. A skinny one at that. He easily walked between the bars and onto the other side, before enlarging into his original, shirtless, human form again. I'm gonna go for a run, alright, kid? And when I come back, you can be my special guest for dinner. He laughed as he walked out of that room, leaving me inside that cell he had somehow pulled me backward into. If there was a way to get in, there had to be a way to get out, so I began trying to slip myself, force myself back through the bars. I knew it was pointless. The bars were built to pull people in, not to let them get back out. I walked to the dark area in the back to see if there was another way out, but what I saw there caused me to lose all hope. It was a collection of people, or their remains. Urban explorers, graffiti artists. I recognized a couple of them from what was left of their clothing. I had wanted to be let into an exclusive graffiti artist and urban explorer club. Well, I suppose now I can enjoy that particular achievement. But not for long. I can hear the howls of my jail warden outside. I know he'll be coming back soon. And then he'll finish me off, and I'll end up on the pile with the others. Those others who I wanted so badly to be included with. Godzilla Tim. We wouldn't even still be here without him. He stuck by us through thick and thin. We can't thank him enough. Godzilla Tim. Please join us in thanking Godzilla Tim, who sent us a generous donation through our paypal.me/PeterBernard209 page, which we promptly took and spent on food so that we can make this episode you just watched a couple seconds ago. So if you like that, then you've got the great Godzilla Tim to thank for it. Tim gets to see our secret uncensored episodes, of which we do 4 a month, and you can see them too if you just follow the advice of our international TV spokesmongrel, Henry Lee Dogman. Hank? Thanks, Biggie. And thanks to all of you for watching this far. If you liked it, please click like. If you'd like to see more of our work, please subscribe. And also click that bell icon if you'd like to be notified when we put out a new episode. To become an executive producer, you can donate to us through the thanks button under each of our videos or through our paypal.me/PeterBernard209 page. To receive cool perks like secret uncensored Dogman episodes far too wild to ever run on this channel, you can become a YouTube channel member by clicking the join button, or join our PayPal subscribers club at peterbernard.com. Joining either at the $3 a month level or above gets you access to our over 25 hours of secret uncensored Dogman stories available nowhere else. Do you have a scary story about Dogman or some other kind of high strangeness that happened to you? Let us know by emailing us at scarystoriesnyc@gmail.com or by leaving us a voicemail message at 804-LA-SCARY. You may need to call back on that when it cuts off after I think 3 minutes. And if you don't want to do any of that stuff, thank you for simply watching to the end. Good night, and have a scary tomorrow.
Come back for more scary stories.